All right, the final notes that we're going to take a look at are using equations to solve word problems. So the title of today's notes will be just that. And then make sure you write today's date in the top corner. So when you're using equations to solve word problems, the first thing you need to do is define a variable for the problem. Remember, a variable is a letter that represents something that you're trying to solve for. So when you're defining a variable, you ask yourself, what are you trying to find? After you've defined the variable, then you set up an equation, then you solve. And you want to make sure that you use keywords from the word problem. So let's try some examples. Here's our first problem. After falling 23 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature is now 51 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the starting temperature? So after falling 23 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature is now 51 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the starting temperature? So we can set up an equation here and solve to figure out the temperature. There are a couple keywords here. The first one is starting and also falling. So we're going to follow our steps. We want to define a variable. And in this case, we're going to say x equals the temperature. And not just the temperature, the starting temperature. Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the starting temperature. So we're going to let that be my variable. So now we'll set up and solve. So after falling 23 degrees, the word falling suggests losing values, so that's going to be subtracting. So the temperature starts at x degrees, that's my starting temperature, and then it falls 23 degrees to end up at 51 degrees. So now I can solve that by adding 23 to both sides and getting x equals 74. So the starting temperature was 74 degrees. Okay, let's try another example. Pocket folders are 39 cents each. If Carolyn paid $7.02, how many did she buy? So remember, we'll follow our steps here. We first want to define a variable. In this case, X is going to equal the pocket folders, the number of pocket folders, and I'm going to use the hashtag symbol to represent number. And then we'll set up and solve. So the keywords here are that they are 39 cents each. So if you're purchasing something and it's 39 cents each, that means you're going to multiply. So we're going to take 0.39 times the number of pocket folders, and that gives us $7.02. Solving that, we can divide by 0.39 on both sides and get X equals 18, which means that there were 18 folders that were purchased by Carolyn. Okay, let's try one more example, and then I'll let you work on the practice problems. Or you should be ready to go with the practice problems for tomorrow. Okay, let's say an electrician charges $30 for a service call plus $75 per hour worked. If he charged $210, how many hours did he work? So an electrician charges $30 for a service call plus $75 per hour worked. If he charged $210, how many hours did he work? So we're going to define our variable. Remember, your variable is always what you're looking for. So in this case, X equals the number of hours worked. And then we're going to set up and solve. So now this one, you got to be careful. They're charging $30 just to start. So just for the call, they charge you $30. Then it's $75 per hour. So remember, anytime you see that word per, it's like multiplying times the number of hours you worked. For a total of how much money he earned was $210. So now we can use our solving skills and solve this. I need to get the x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 30 on both sides. 75x equals 180. And now you can divide both sides by 75. So x equals 2. .4. So he worked 2.4 hours. And that's using equations to solve word problems.